Welcome to another exciting episode. In today's episode, we will be exploring the world of Pontiac Firebird Trans Ams to spotlight some of the rarest models ever produced. These are the elusive muscle cars that collectors dream of, celebrated not just for their power, but for their extreme scarcity. Join us as we count down the rarest Pontiac Firebird Trans Ams to have existed between the 60s and 70s. Kicking off our list at number 8, we have the 1971 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am 455HO. Taking the 8th spot is the 1971 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am 455HO, a beast born from the golden era of muscle cars. The 1971 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am 455HO is a rare gem, with only 2,116 units ever produced. This model was powered by a 455 cubic inch high output V8 engine, which was rated at 335 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. It was capable of reaching 0 to 60 in approximately 5.9 seconds with a top speed of around 130 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest cars of its time. Despite the production numbers being higher than some of the other models on this list, the 1971 Trans Am 455HO is still considered rare due to its combination of performance, design, and limited number of surviving examples. Well-maintained versions can fetch prices ranging from $100,000 to $180,000, depending on the condition and originality. While the 1971 Trans Am 455HO might have made a grand entrance, the next car on our list takes rarity to a whole new level, proving that sometimes less is more. And number 7 is the 1972 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am 455HO. At number 7, we encounter the 1972 version of the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am 455HO, which was a symbol of dominance in an era when muscle cars faced extinction due to emissions regulations and fuel economy standards. Despite the pressures of emissions regulations, this car refused to be tamed, carrying the muscle car torch with pride and power. Only 1,286 units ever rolled off the assembly line, and the car's heart was powered by a 455 cubic inch high output V8 engine, which produced 300 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. The powertrain delivered impressive performance for its time, propelling the car from 0 to 60 in around 6.4 seconds and reaching a top speed of 120 miles per hour. The rarity of this model, exacerbated by a GM strike that year, has only increased its value over time. Currently, a well-preserved 1972 Trans Am 455HO can command prices upwards of $80,000 to $120,000, depending on condition and originality. The 1972 Trans Am 455HO stood strong in the face of change, but what comes next was a noteworthy model that signaled the end of an era. Number 6. The 1974 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Super Duty 455. Coming in at number 6 is the 1974 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Super Duty 455, a car that defied the twilight of the muscle car era. As the curtain was falling on high-performance machines, Pontiac delivered one last encore with this supercharged beauty. Pontiac released this model with only 943 units produced, making it among the rarest and most desirable Trans Ams ever built. The Super Duty 455 engine was a feat of engineering, built with strengthened components that made it virtually bulletproof. Officially rated at 290 horsepower due to stricter emissions regulations, many experts believe the actual output was closer to 370 horsepower. This allowed the car to go from 0 to 60 in about 6.0 seconds with a top speed of 120 miles per hour. The 1974 model also featured a new design, with a more aggressive front end and updated rear bumper adding to its appeal. It is highly sought after by collectors, with values typically ranging between $90,000 and $150,000. As the 1974 Trans Am Super Duty 455 bid farewell to the muscle car era, our next contender looks back at the year before, where even fewer were made, yet the legacy only grew stronger. Number 5. The 1973 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Super Duty 455. Claiming the 5th spot is the 1973 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Super Duty 455, often hailed as the zenith of the Trans Am legacy. With only 252 units produced, this car was more than just a machine. It was a statement of power, precision, and Pontiac's commitment to performance, even as the world around it began to change. There were only 252 units ever produced, earning its spot among the coveted cars of that era. This model featured a highly developed version of the 455 cubic inch V8 engine, which included fortified internal components, such as forged rods and pistons, a reinforced block, and a special camshaft. Officially rated at 310 horsepower, the actual output was likely closer to 370 to 375 horsepower. This allowed the car to achieve a 0 to 60 mph time of just 5.4 seconds and a top speed of around 130 mph. The 1973 Trans Am Super Duty 455 is considered one of the last great muscle cars before emissions regulations and the oil crisis drastically changed the automotive landscape. Today, well-preserved examples of this model can fetch between $120,000 and $200,000 at auction, with some exceptional examples exceeding this range. The 1973 Trans Am Super Duty 455 roared into the hearts of enthusiasts. Still, the next model on our list was an even rarer beast, making its mark as a defining piece of automotive history. Number 4. The 1970 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am RA4. Cracking the top 4 is the 1970 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am RA4, a car as rare as it is revered. With just 88 units produced, this Trans Am wasn't just a step forward in design and performance, it was a giant leap, setting new standards and blazing a trail for future generations. The Ram Air 4 engine, a 400 cubic inch V8, was a powerhouse, delivering 345 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. This allowed the car to reach a top speed of approximately 125 miles per hour and accelerate from 0 to 60 in about 6.3 seconds. The 1970 models also introduced a more aerodynamic body and a functional shaker hood scoop which fed cold air directly into the engine, enhancing performance. Today, these cars can command prices ranging from $109,000 to $147,000 depending on their condition and provenance. As the 1970 Trans Am RA4 pushed the limits of performance and design, the next car on our list takes us back to the late 60s, where rarity and performance were the name of the game. Number 3. The 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Ram Air 4 Hardtop. Securing the 3rd spot is the 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Ram Air 4 Hardtop, a car that commands respect both on the street and in the collector's market. With only 55 units ever produced, this hardtop model has become a legend, offering a potent blend of performance and rarity that few cars can match. This model was equipped with the race-ready Ram Air 4 engine, a 400 cubic inch V8 that produced 345 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. This power enabled the car to achieve a 0 to 60 time of around 6.5 seconds and a top speed of approximately 120 miles per hour. The hardtop design added rigidity to the body, enhancing the car's handling and making it a formidable performer on both the street and the track. Today, these cars can fetch anywhere from $200,000 to $350,000 at auction, depending on their condition, originality, and history. The 1969 Trans Am Ram Air IV hardtop was a force to be reckoned with. Still, our runner-up on this list is even more elusive, a convertible that redefined rarity and desirability in the muscle car world. Number 2, 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Convertible. At number 2, we find the unicorn of muscle cars, the 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Convertible. With only 8 ever built, this car is the stuff of dreams for collectors. Its striking design and raw power make it a true masterpiece, representing the pinnacle of the Trans Am's debut year. This Trans Am was available with either the Ram Air III or the more potent Ram Air IV engine, both of which delivered impressive performance. The Ram Air IV version in particular pushed the envelope with 345 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, allowing the car to accelerate from 0 to 60 in around 6.5 seconds and reach a top speed of approximately 120 miles per hour. The 1969 Trans Am Convertible featured the signature white paint with blue racing stripes, a color scheme that became synonymous with the Trans Am name. The car's rarity is not just a product of its limited production run, but also of the era in which it was produced, as convertibles were becoming less popular and more expensive. It may be the crown jewel for many, but the rarest of them all is yet to come. A singular Trans Am that stands alone in its class, unmatched and unparalleled. Number 1, the 1969 Pontiac Trans Am Ram Air V. Taking the top spot is the one-of-a-kind 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Ram Air V. With only one unit produced, this developmental car boasts a unique powertrain featuring a 6.6-liter V8 engine that makes an estimated 475 horsepower. The Ram Air V engine was intended for Trans Am racing, but due to regulatory changes and sourcing issues, it never reached production. This singular example, preserved in its original state, showcases original headers, heat shields, and a Hirsch shifter. Its deluxe interior, wood-rimmed steering wheel, and factory-optioned radio add to its exclusivity. Today, this extraordinary vehicle is housed at the Throttle Stop Museum in Elkhart Lane, Wisconsin, where it remains on display for enthusiasts and collectors to marvel at. The 1969 Trans Am Ram Air V is a true unicorn, with a value that would likely set records if auctioned. Its rarity surpasses even the coveted 1969 GTO Ram Air IV convertible, which has a valuation of $217,000. With the 1969 Trans Am Ram Air V, we've reached the zenith of rarity and performance, but as one story ends, there's always more legends to explore in the world of classic muscle cars. Stay tuned for the next chapter in automotive history. Like, share, and subscribe.